Mrs. Kane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, in the interest of fairness, this is the same question I asked on Monday. I want to add a little bit extra onto it. So the question is, do you have any pet policy or project that you'd want to see pushed through in the 5-year term? But also I'd be interested, along with the pet policy, if any of the members could say whether they have any membership or links to political parties, or which, sort of where you are on the political spectrum.
Okay. Where are you on the political spectrum and any pet projects? This one we're going to start... Sorry? Pet policies, my apologies. This one we will start with Mrs. Corlett.
No time to think about that one again. Okay, I have no political affiliations, so completely open there. As far as a pet policy is concerned, one of the things I am concerned about is the issue of pension freedoms and the ability of people to be able to cash in their pensions and spend the money. And I have concerns about that. I would like to see that progressed a little further and give some additional protections being given to people who perhaps may feel that they're able to deal with their own financial position, but actually may not be. So that's something that concerns me.
Thank you. Ms. Joughin.
I'm not affiliated to any political party. When I was voting in the UK, I voted for different political parties, and that's mainly been on the basis of the particular individual, whether I sort of felt that person was the best person to represent the area that I was living in. And quite often different parties at local authority level to national level for different reasons. Pet policies, I know the role of MLC is to promote legislation. I see that being done through the appropriate department. Yet I would like a review of basically power of attorney. I think that certainly needs to be looked at and revised, particularly to enable members of the bank's public to have an opportunity to set out quite clearly what their wishes are in relation to health and welfare, as opposed to financial and property matters, and I think there's a gap there that needs to be looked at.
Thank you. Mr. Furner.
I have no links to political parties, so no affiliations there. I interpret the question as, do I have anything which is not in the programme for government? So if there's one thing that I could mention, it would be to look into decriminalisation of cannabis and marijuana. I think we should look at it.
Thank you. Mrs. Lord-Brennan.
I don't have any political affiliations in terms of where I stand politically, pretty unimaginatively in the middle. But I think if you were to ask me what political landscape I'd probably feel most at home in, I'd say if you drop me off one of the Nordic countries, then I'd probably be quite happy there. And I think we've probably got a lot to learn from our Viking cousins in terms of how progressive their policies are, and just the sort of thought and innovative ways that they approach things like healthcare, for example, maybe schooling is another. But of course, policy is really a matter primarily for the Keys as the directly elected members. That said, I think it's known that I have spoken up about school, about reception admissions for summer-born children. But when I've spoken up about that, I've done it in, I think, in a way that's been respectful and has been put forward a research approach, and has actually been a way of kind of putting advocacy for a group of parents. So yeah, that's obviously a pet thing of mine that I am interested in. I think single-use plastics is another one where we need to sort of see some progress on that. But I'm not really kind of coming in with a view of myself as an MLC as making changes in this way, because I think that we have a different role, and I'm interested in regeneration as well. So I don't know really if there's not a certain thing that I'm kind of gunning to change in a role as an MLC, but those are the things that I'm interested in and that I've been known to speak about before.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, I think we're here really only with the consent of the people of the Isle of Man. That's our job. and whether elected directly or indirectly, our fiduciary duty is to the people of the Isle of Man. I'm concerned by the kind of lack of voter engagement and voter turnout, and I'm concerned about the kind of lack of response on consultation and decision making. So I think I said I scored us about 7 on the democratic scale earlier on, your first question. I think we need to improve that. I think we need to be accountable to the people of the Isle of Man, and we need the people of the Isle of Man to really value us as their representatives, and to give people the opportunity, more opportunity, to be involved in decision making. So that's the first half of your question. In terms of the political spectrum, I'm not a great fan of what I see as kind of older thinking on left or right wing. There was a futurist a while back described a new way, which is kind of upwing, which is kind of where I am coming from. I'm interested in issues rather than politics. I'm not a great fan of the UK system where you get divided into 2 camps, left and right. I'm interested in getting the right answer, and that sometimes might be more to the left, might be more to the right, but what I'm interested in more than ever is getting the right answer.
Thank you. Mrs. Humbles.
I'm independent, and I would say that, you know, it depends on the issue as to where you kind of swing when you sort of sit centrist like that. Sometimes I'm sort of light blue, sometimes I'm light pink, so, you know, all the pastel colours really. But, you know, it depends on where you kind of sit with certain issues when you present yourself as somebody who is independent, who is centrist. I think that I don't sort of, you know, I don't hold it against anybody that does kind of sit with Liberal Vannin, for example, or with the Manx Labour Party. I don't. But I feel that it gives me the ability to be able to freely speak my mind. It gives me a level of cognitive complexity that I can, you know, employ. The other side of your question, no, I don't think that the Legislative Council members should really, when it comes to policy, no, I don't have any pet policy projects. There are certain things that I've got myself not involved in, but I've asked questions about during my time at Manx Radio, and particularly in the newsroom. Single-use plastics, very similar to what Kate said earlier. I do think that we need to spend some more time thinking about how we can progress that, and basically get rid of them as far as can be possible, as far as we can do from the island. But also public-private sector partnerships. I suppose our policy on that would be interesting to kind of like find new and more interesting ways to bolster that. But no is the answer to your question. I don't have any pet projects, I'll say, Warrington.